My pet peeve is definitely houses without books. Unfortunately, I see it. I'm like, where are the books? You gotta have books. Hi, I'm Amy Astley. I'm going to take you through some of the most exciting and impactful homes that we have published during my tenure at AD, and they're all houses that are included in our new book, AD at Home. People always ask me, how do we choose the houses that are in AD? And the answer is that I look for things that are visually original. They're very personal. To me, the people with the best style, whether it's in the way they dress, the way they decorate, the way they cook, the way they live their life, it's personal. They know who they are, they know how they want it to be, to taste, to feel, to look, how they want to feel in their clothes, in their home. And so I don't subscribe to good taste, bad taste, good design, bad design. I've definitely run houses in AD that people have said, I don't like that house. And I'm like, great, now we're talking about something. When I started at AD, I only had a few weeks to pull together my first issue. And so I was scrambling very fast to put together an issue that normally I would spend 6 months working on. And so I reached out and Marc said yes. We put his dog Neville on the cover with his Instagram handle. That was me announcing that it was a new day at AD and that printers thought it was a mistake and they sent it back to ask us about it. And I think he set the standard very, very high. You know, like in my mind, I'm like, can it be as exciting as Marc's house? It's very classic and quiet and old school chic. Everything sort of whispers rather than shouts. And then the contemporary art is like, bam. It is statement making. In his living room, that incredible Paul McCarthy sculpture that's like this wild, wild Disneyland kind of sculpture in this very refined, very luxurious setting. Marc is known for his incredible flights of fantasy on the runway. And then the house is very tailored, it's very chic, it's very elegant. And that's why it's so amazing to go into people's houses. It reveals so much about them. So I think as a first statement from me at AD, it shows, what you think you know about someone, you're totally wrong because you have some preconceived notions about who he is. And then you see the house and you realize, I don't know Marc at all. I thought that was sort of very stealth and just added to the mystery of his genius. I love that.
Welcome to my fazenda.
Fazenda means farm. I learned that from Lenny's Open Door, as did I think millions of other people who watched it. This is an 18th century coffee compound that he's renovated for his life now. It's a working farm. In his incredible Open Door, he talks about the farm to table lifestyle there. And I would have to say that this is one of the most extraordinary homes we've ever shown in AD. He's an AD 100 designer, which I find a lot of people don't know about him. But everything that you're looking at in this home has been touched by his own hands. He designed this house. It's full of love. It's very organic. It's full of black and white photos of his family. He's a real connoisseur of design. When we filmed, he had his band members there, and they come for long periods of time. And you see how he interacts with the people who work on this huge property, taking care of the animals and the farmland, and of him and his guests. And it's just a very warm place full of love for the people around him. So he has like a vintage Vladimir Kagan bed. It's a bit aged and weathered, but that makes it better. He has a piano that belonged to Ingrid Bergman. He has a velvet chair that belonged to Andy Warhol. He cares about the pieces in his home. He knows where they came from. He's obviously collecting things with an interesting backstory. Being in touch with nature in this way has changed his life. He got in touch with his inner cowboy. I think that speaks to the power of place to transform a life. Obviously, Lenny's a really lucky and fortunate person and can live in ways that the rest of us can't. But what's so touching is he's sharing it with so many other people, and he's very generous about it, and I think that is special. This building has a fascinating history. It was a handball court in about 1869, and then around 1950, it was transformed into a brick factory. And then in the 70s, the architect John Mockridge turned it into a private residence. Now Troye Sivan, international pop star, owns it, and he sees himself as, sort of the latest steward in the most recent chapter of this incredible building. Troye is really unique. I mean, you don't see that many super young people who are geeking out on design and architecture and care so much about their environment, but Troye definitely does. And I think that Troye's had an amazing kind of influence on young people. The Open Door was widely watched. Quite often they'll tell me it inspired them to think more about their own personal space, and Troye's absolutely obsessed with lighting.
I think the goal was to have like a soup of light, you know what I mean? I didn't want like hard overhead lighting because no one looks good in that. Just finding soft light just kind of gently fills the room.
What I love about how David Flack and Troye approached the house is they didn't try to clean it up or tidy it up. They embraced all the different materiality in the house. So it has the industrial vibe, it has cork on the ceiling, it has steel, it has the beautiful old courtyard, and they embraced every bit of its place and of its history. And I think it just has a lot of soul. But it's up to date, it's modern, it's incredible how they managed to weave the old and the new together. He also made an outdoor bathroom in the courtyard. He calls it the
outdoor toilet situation.
There used to be a toilet in the kitchen. He said he always found the toilet in the kitchen pretty gross. No argument from me. And he moved the whole thing out into the courtyard where you go into this insane bathroom that has the music system and the incredible marble. Troye said something that I thought was really funny and charming about, when you go in an amazing hotel or an amazing restaurant and people say, oh, have you been to the bathroom? Have you seen the bathroom? He wanted that in his courtyard bathroom, and he definitely got it.
Obsessed. I think it's so dramatic and extra, and I love it.
Hello, AD. I'm Sienna Miller. Welcome to my cottage.
This is a 16th century thatched roof cottage that belongs to the gorgeous, fabulous, talented Sienna Miller. It's just like a dream. She calls this cottage thatched, so it's incredibly cute and very British. It is just so storybook.
Thatch is funny. It's like the biggest tiny house you've ever seen.
But it's an incredibly creative house that she did with her friend Gabby Dalal, who's a film director. It's designed, but it's not over-designed. It's cozy, it's warm, it's definitely elevated and stylish, but not forbiddingly so. To me, this is a house that's about the life being lived in it, and those are the best houses. She talks about the crowds of people in the house. It was obviously important to her that a lot of guests can sleep over in their guest cottages.
And this is what we call the outhouse, where I send my friends who are madly in love because it's very romantic.
The part of her house that I might love the most is her own bedroom. I think the way she and Gabby designed the bedroom with the beautiful mise-en-scene wallpaper and the bath that's open to the bedroom and then the doors at the foot of the bed that open out into the garden is just like a heavenly romantic dream. Suleika and John met, it's so adorable, they met at band camp as teenagers. They have a long romance, a real love story, and an amazing couple. Sadly, Suleika has been battling leukemia, and she was in remission for 10 years, but at the point they were renovating this house, it came back. Rather than put their project on pause, they doubled down on their renovation and insisted, this is going to be our house, this is going to be where we live, this will happen, we will have a life here. And so she referred to it as an act of defiance. I felt so moved to be allowed into their private space. They got married in the house, in the living room, and they decided to make that commitment to one another while she was ill, obviously, and while they were renovating their house. And I think that's a magic thing about houses. It can really let you into the story of people. And with these two, it certainly resonates. Just the creativity flows out of John, and he just wants to be able to sit down and play and sing and compose.
That's what a home should be about, right?
They live with her artworks. She's especially painted during her illness in the hospital, I think to sort of make sense of it and to express herself. And all these personal things are around them. They talk a lot about things from Tunisia, things that are from New Orleans, where he's from, and melding their two worlds together. It's a place that reflects their spirit. I also love their pink kitchen. I think it's such a pretty color. And I don't get many pink kitchens, but theirs is really great, and I should see more pink kitchens. Suleika really loves secondhand. She loves thrifting. I mean, she's good at it. She has this desk that was actually not thrifted that John gave to her as a gift, and it was Joan Didion's desk. And she talks about the spirit that comes through that desk to her. But she also makes the point that even if it was not Joan Didion's desk, she still would have been drawn to this piece in a thrift store because the design of it speaks to her. And that's why this house has so much soul and so much character. Bjarke is a really, really innovative thinker. If he has to make a waste processing plant in Copenhagen, he'll put a ski slope on the top or do the Lego museum, and it's all made out of Legos. As an architect, I'm fascinated by his work, and I never would have imagined that he would choose to live in a decommissioned ferry that really functions as a lab for him. He's really fascinated by the idea of floating homes and how they are sustainable in our climate. He mentioned to AD that a houseboat is the most resilient form of architecture, and as sea levels rise, the home will move with the sea. This is all a part of Bjarke's genius, and everything about it is just sort of a delight and a joy to look at. I love the picture of him on the huge patchwork beanbag with his child, his sofa that seems to be made out of concrete blocks. I think what's great about Bjarke is while he embraced the form that he was given in the boat, he managed to take it to kind of a luxurious level in his own way, you know, and the interior design is really fantastic, and the boat feels very futuristic, but also refined. But I think the larger interesting concept for someone like Bjarke is that decision to really live immersed, as it were, in nature. Carl Maston was a slightly lesser-known modernist in California who hung out with Lautner and Neutra, the sort of grandees of California architecture. Maston actually lived in this house at one point with his wife. It just has a great history and a great kind of heritage and lineage, and in that way it's a lot like Dakota herself. Dakota's very irreverent. She's confident, she's funny, she's witty, she's unfiltered. While she's so glamorous, she also has a down-to-earth quality, which I think is because of her humor. And the house really reflects that. It's a spacious house, but it's not a huge house, which I think is really charming and lovely. And it's a great example of Pearson Ward's work. It's very bohemian. There's a lot of wood, a lot of antiques, vintage pieces, vintage art. Everything has a warm, cozy vibe to it. Nothing is intimidating, nothing is pretentious. You could really curl up on her sofa and really live in this house. There's so many wonderful things in this office, such as the photograph of Hunter S. Thompson, who was a friend of her father's.
And I love it so much, even with his boobies.
Photographs of her grandmother, Tippi Hedren, the mother of her famous mother, Melanie Griffith, books that were signed to Dakota by Patti Smith, and also just funny moments like uncool books that she grabbed and sort of hid from our cameras.
Just put them down here. Go to a cooler pile.
I loved Dakota's open door, her unfiltered bamboo war with her neighbors.
My neighbors on that side are in a war with me about how high the bamboo in the driveway is growing, which is insane, because why would I want people to be able to see in my house? I can't believe that I'm even letting you guys in my house, so they can just shove it.
Her tour of her pool and her garden, very charming. Her many F-bombs, and of course the limes.
AD, how are you? I'm Mrs. Dean.
Mr. Dean right here.
And we want to invite you into our home. Come.
People talk about not letting your clothes wear you, but you should wear your clothes, and it's true for the house too. Like, this is a lot of house, and some people just wouldn't be up to it, but Alicia and Swizz are superstars, you know, their personas are huge, and they're very comfortable in their house, and they wear it well. It does not wear them. It's a brutalist house in La Jolla, California. It was designed by Wallace E. Cunningham. Many people say it is the Tony Stark house or the model for the Tony Stark house, so it certainly has superhero qualities. One thing I really admire about the execution in this house is how the AD100 designer Kelly Bayon dealt with a really vast space. It has a lot of industrial surfaces, concrete surfaces that could be interpreted as cold, and she made it really, really warm. She used rugs, she used texture, she used velvets and upholstery, she used a lot of wood, collectible pieces. The Scarpa chairs in the dining room are amazing. There's a real warmth to the interiors of this house for a family with children to live in. They're playing music there. She has a piano that she was given when she was 16 years old, when she was first signed to Columbia Records. And it's a place where they can display their incredible world-class art collection, including the biggest private collection of Gordon Parks photography. You see that they're really living their lives in this house. It's not just a set piece. I love this quote from Swizz where he says 90% of the art in this house is from friends, and we've partied with them, we've broken bread. They're not just like a commodity that's being collected, but it's a real relationship being formed. I love the whole video for the vibe between the two of them, Alicia and Swizz. It's super easy, fond, affectionate. They're extremely respectful of each other. It really shows you why the home is important as a nest for these people. This is the Brooklyn home of two artists, Brian Donnelly, better known as KAWS, and his wife Julia Chiang. I don't go to every house that we photograph. Sometimes it's not practical, it's too far flung, too far away. But this one I did get to visit prior to photographing it. And I will say, it rocked my world. Brian Donnelly, aka KAWS, is a real rock star of the art world. To see how he collects and curates and how his mind works, and that glimpse into his mind, his visual sense, what intrigues him is utterly fascinating. The George Condos, he has Alex Katz, the H.C. Westerman robots in the entrance, Campana Brothers furniture, the gallery hung wall full of art, the Wendell Castle furniture, the Gaetano Pesce. The energy in KAWS's world is really good. He and Julia are an incredible creative couple. They have these cute, young, energetic kids running around living with all this art and running through this incredible space. I mean, this courtyard in Brooklyn is outrageous. They're family people. And I'm always drawn to how artists live in their home because I think that they see the world so differently from how the rest of us normal folks see it. It's refreshing for him to come home and be around other people's work. I think AD's evolved in the sense that I wanted it to feel buzzy and relevant. Who are the people of interest and why? And can we show a different facet of them? The house is so revealing of that person, of who they are, and adds another layer of dimension to understanding them. I hope it doesn't feel cold. I hope it feels not so perfect. The home ultimately is a place to eat. It's a place to rest. It's a place to watch television, to be with your family, with your friends. If we're lucky enough to have a home, that's what it's all about. As you find what your taste is and your style and what speaks to you, I think that you land on something timeless. You can tweak it, you can update a little bit as you would a wardrobe, but you don't need to throw the whole thing out. If you're lucky enough to have grandparents, check out their house. You might see it right there, People who just really know who they are and everything just clicks and it works. I hope this gave you a deeper understanding of why these houses are so special to me and why we chose to include them in AD and in our new book, AD at Home. I hope you got a lot of inspiration from the stories in the houses, as I certainly do.